peace and blessings, all glory be given to the Most High God, for He is the only reason why we live, for we was made in His image, we was made for His pleasure, we was made to please Him. Now, the topic for today is when you justify a sin, does that mean that it'd be like a sin that would be something that you would be doing that God would look at and He would forgive you for? Now, I know the justification of any sin leads to death. That's the only way you can pay for a sin. It must be paid in blood. Now, long ago, it was a man called Lot. And when Lot when he had separated from Abraham, he went to his own land, but for some reason, Lot ended up in the city of Gomorrah, of Sodom and Gomorrah, because it was two sister cities adjacent to each other. So Sodom, he had two daughters and he had a wife, and he was trying to raise his family in an ungodly city. Now, it was a day of destruction for Lot, and God sent His angels down to smite that sinful city of Sodom and Gomorrah. And he met Lot he met him in the common places of town, the two angels, and he offered the angels. He was like, man, I ain't never seen y'all before. Would y'all like to come? Because that was the thing back in the day, to welcome people into your home, especially people of your own kind. So it was very common for a stranger to be amongst the city, and for one of the city inhabitants to welcome that person into their home. Lot, at that time, he didn't know that they were angels. Now, Lot took the men back to his own house, and he was gonna feed them, and he was gonna make sure that they had a good bed for the night. So then, the men of Sodom, they came to Lot's house late at night, and they were surrounded. It could have been at least like 50 to 60 grown men and adolescent teens in the crowd. They was bamming on Lot's door. They was bamming on his door, on Brother Lot's door. And they told Brother Lot, they said, send out the men that we seen in the town square for that evening so we can have our way with them. And of that time, of that day, that means homosexuality. That's what it means, you know what I'm saying? And the men on the outside of that town wanted to have sex with Lot, the men that Lot was keeping in his home. Lot told the men, take my two daughters. They have never seen men before. And for some reason, he didn't send out his daughters. And the men continued to sit there and beat and bam at the door. And the two angels inside of the home struck the men outside blind. From the little boys, the young men, the teenagers, they could have been anywhere from 11 to 14, and then you had the 16 and 18 and 20 and 30, all the way up to the oldest ages. So God struck the men and little boys and young men outside of that house with blindness, so they couldn't see where they were. And when it was time for Lot to escape, he walked by those people and they couldn't even see him because the angels was leading him out the house. Now, I told this story to say this: homosexuality, anytime a man wants to lay with another man, that is not godly, because we are not supposed to lay with a man as if it was a woman. As a man, you know what I'm saying? As a man, we are not supposed to lay with a man as if it was a woman. So God struck the men blind. Now, it's 2024, and it's been a huge campaign out in the midst of the land that I've been telling my people way back since 2016. And I'm not gonna lie to you, family, them people ganged up on me, and they did things to my program to try to paint me to be a harsh man. But any sin is sin. It's just the fact, when you take it upon yourself to justify your sin, you will never acknowledge it as being sin. So where's your recompense? You get it by being a homosexual man. You're falling back and you acknowledging to the Most High God that you're doing a sin. It's not a lot of homosexual men that can recognize that they are sinning. This is the only reason why I don't understand why they wanted to paint, they wanted to attack our children. They went straight after the children, telling them you could be this and you could be that. Why do that when God is going to judge anybody at the tender age of 7 years old, good or bad? God said you could look at a child at 7 years old, and the sin that they give into, he hopes that they don't grow up in that. So why would you have to put on some major persona out in the world of glorifying and justifying this sin when you could just call it as being sin of what you're doing? Why would you have to go after somebody so young and with the drag queens or with the people in school trying to feed your children's mind that there's something wrong with them? Yeah, there is something wrong with your children. So it's something wrong with some of them. Sin that affects any man, that affects any woman. So for the life of me, I don't understand why you would need a flag to justify. I thought a flag was supposed to be a nationhood of a group of people. But as you could see, as the LGBT whole community, they went after your children so they could be cloaked in a state of a format that we're a whole community, from the little kids all the way to a grown people. That's why they went at your children so much. But they didn't even have to do that, family. They didn't have to do that because sin is sin, family. And anybody can give in to sin. It's just a fact when you justify your sin. Will you have some omission? Will you have remission of sin of what and trying to get right with God, saying you wrong, and having remission of sin and stepping away for that? But with the LGBT community, what they own, I can tell you right now, with their own sexuality, if you cannot get your sexuality in order in God's eyes, you are a filthy beast. You are an animal. That's what you are to God. Now, you would need a whole flag, or you would need a whole community of people trying to come together in alliance as one to try to do something if it not be wrong, family. Why do I say that? Because it's something that they're automatically going against, that they know about. From all of their ages, they all ask the sin of homosexuality, and they ask these questions, but then they still go into it. I'm here to tell them today, you didn't even have to do all that. Sin is sin, and the only way that you can pay for sin is for your death. So what will happen to you in your lifetime? Renounce your homosexuality ways. Let's put it like this. If you want to be gay, don't be gay with nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And even if I could say that, even if a effeminate, God won't even let a feminine spirit, that's like a drunkard spirit, enter in his kingdom. A lying spirit, he won't let none of those things fall into his kingdom. The LGBT community did not have to go out of children in such a way. When sin is sin, it's already a name for it. You call it homosexuality, God calls it sin.